In times when Judaism faces many challenges, there's one organization that's working hard to successfully engage millions of Jewish people around the world and bring them closer to their Jewish heritage. Joining us in the studio today is Tzohar chairman Rabbi David Stav to talk about some of the burning issues Judaism is facing today. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So to begin, tell us a little bit about Tzohar. What do you do?
Tzohar was established as a rabbinic organization 20 years ago, right after the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, the prime minister. And there was a group of rabbis that asked itself, what could we do in order to bridge a bit of the gaps that existed then and exist today between observant and non-observant people. And one of the challenges was the fact that in Israel there is a religious coercion in which forces all couples to get married in a halachic way. Many of the times, many of the secular people don't like this option and prefer to go to other options. And they feel that actually they are coerced to do things that they don't like them to do that, to be done in this way. And we decided to try to make this ceremony, this ritual, much more friendlier, much more accessible, and to change the approach to the non-observant couples that come to get married. So we started to organize rabbis that volunteered to arrange to perform the weddings, instead of rabbis that used to charge a lot of money, rabbis that usually were not in the same level, they didn't share the same views and the same culture as the secular couples. And so we replaced these rabbis and we sent rabbis that went to the army, went to universities, were Zionist in their view and their vision of life. And all of a sudden, thousands of couples decided that this is the Judaism that they feel that they could be affiliated with, and they want to get married in this way.
Interesting. Now, one of the main topics that you're dealing with as well are prenuptial agreements. Why are you putting so much importance on that issue, specifically when it comes to Judaism?
Recently, we realized that many of the couples prefer not to get married at all because they are afraid not of the Jewish marriage, but about the Jewish process of getting divorced. Because in many occasions, husbands, usually husbands, but not necessarily husbands, in most of the cases it was husbands that used the power and utilized the power that the Jewish halacha gives them and try to demand from the wives financial demands that they were not deserved to get. And they actually postponed the giving the get, getting the official document that releases the woman to get married to somebody else. So we realized that many of the couples are afraid from going into the process of getting married because they are afraid of the process of getting divorced. And therefore we offer couples every day. There are tens of couples that sign by us their prenuptial agreements that actually arrange the financial agreement between the couples so that if one of the spouses will refuse to give a get, he will have to give so much money that it will not pay for him to do that. And we call it eskem me'ava, an agreement that is done out of love, not out of coercion. We say to the couples, if you love each other, you have to decide not only how to get married, but in case that it will be needed to be separated, that will separate from each other in a proper way, so that nobody will try to raise demands that is not it doesn't deserve to get them.
Interesting. Now, changing topics a little bit, another challenge we're facing is the Jewish status of many Olim Chadashim, new immigrants that are coming to Israel from places like Russia and also from the United States. How are you working to resolve that issue and deal with these people who feel that they're Jewish but are not necessarily able to live Jewish lives here in Israel?
Well, people are not aware of that, especially people that come from the United States or from former Soviet Union, that every immigrant that has arrived to Israel after 1990, he has to prove twice that he is Jewish. He has to prove for the Jewish agency or for the government that he is Jewish for the law of return. But that's relatively easy. It's enough for him to bring a letter from the congregation he belongs to or from the rabbi, whatever rabbi he is related to, that approves that he is Jewish, and this will be enough. But when he will come to get married, this letter will not be enough. He will have to prove again that he is halachically Jewish. In this case, many of the Russian Jews that come and they have no documents that could prove that they are halachically Jewish, and even American Jews that were not affiliated with Orthodox communities.
What are those documents, though? What is proof?
A proof will be an Orthodox document that showed that you got married in an Orthodox wedding. This is almost impossible for Russian Jews to bring, because there were no Orthodox marriages, there were no religious marriages at all under the communist regime
Right.
that took place in the Russia in the 20th century. But even in the United States, many of the couples got married civilly or with Reform and conservative rabbis, and this will not be accepted as a proof for them that they're Jewish. And when they want to get married, versus getting the citizenship, that it's enough for them to bring this letter, but when they want to get married, or the kids want to get married, they will have to bring a better proof, and this will not be enough. So we help every year hundreds of American immigrants and thousands of Russian immigrants to prove that they are halachically Jewish. We check through our rabbis that are spread all over the world, and to check after the families to bring evidences that will be accepted by the rabbinic courts in Israel, so that they will be able, as you said in your question, they will be able to live Jewish life and to get married in a Jewish way without any questions and without any problems, and nobody will hesitate to recognize them as Jews anymore.
I guess one of the big questions here is, do you feel like the secular Jewish community is actually interested in becoming more religious?
I would answer this question in a very short way. They want to be more Jewish. They hate coercion. Everything that sounds to them and seems to them to be coercive, they will reject and push away. Everything that sounds to them that we're trying to talk to them in the height of the highs, and that we try to put things into offer, not to coerce, they will accept with two hands. I'll give you one example. We arrange in Tzohar every year hundreds of places that invite non-observant people to attend in services for Yom Kippur. Last year we had more than 65,000 people that attended more than 350 places all over the country. And the questions and the requests are, please give us more. So when it comes to Judaism in a way that attracts, in a way that does not coerce, everybody's willing to listen and to hear and to judge for himself what he wants to accept and what he wants to reject. When it comes to coercion, people push away.
But what does it mean to be more Jewish? I mean, how does a secular Jewish person become, closer to the halakha, or become more religious, I guess?
No, I don't think that, that's the point. I don't want him to feel that he is in a way, on a process, to become religious. I want him to decide for himself and to choose for himself what does it mean for him to be Jewish. Now, if for someone to be Jewish is to pray in Yom Kippur, it's fine. If for someone is to be Jewish to go to the army, it's also fine. I don't want to judge for him what will be considered as Jewish identity. I want to expose him to Jewish heritage. I want him to know and to let him choose. One of the problems is that most Israelis didn't have the opportunity to be exposed to the Jewish heritage and to decide for themselves what they want to pick up and what they want to push away.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for coming in. This has been very enlightening, and it seems like you're doing some very good work.
Thank you.